According to the Environmental Protection Agency, precipitation of rain and water is at the heart of the California water supply, and that supply is becoming increasingly taxed. The state consumes 2 million more acre-feet of groundwater than it recharges naturally. California is also at a higher risk for drought than other areas of the country. In the city of Ventura, our drinking water supplies are all local, from groundwater wells, Lake Casitas, and the Ventura River. During dry conditions like we're experiencing now, taking actions to use water wisely will leave more water in the environment and stretch our water supplies. Since 40 to 60% of the water we use is used outdoors, one of the great ways to conserve is to plant native vegetation. Designer Bauer with Bauer Fine Gardening is going to show us how to prune our native gardens and make them thrive and flourish without the use of excessive water.
Okay, so probably the best time to prune your garden, your ocean-friendly garden or this type of plant material, is in the late fall to early winter. So it's after the heat of summer has died down, but before it starts getting really wet and cold. That's when the plants are coming out of their summer dormancy and they're starting to wake up and put out new growth. The other time to prune them for hard pruning, which is what we're going to be demonstrating today, would be maybe in February. So for native plant material or ocean-friendly gardens or water-wise gardens, I would really prefer people to use hand pruning technique than shearing. Shearing is when you come with the hedge trimmers and you just kind of cut everything flat across the top. We're going to show you how to do that with a little bit more finesse, and it's going to make your plants healthier and they're going to look better in the long run.
For the tools of the trade, Laura advises to use clean and sharp shears. Clean because you don't want anything on the tools to get into the plants when you prune. And if you think your plant has a disease, bacterial issue, or fungus, you may want to sterilize your pruners.
Just mix up a solution of 1 part bleach to 9 parts water and just dip your pruners in that. It's not very good for the pruners, so if you do have to do this, make sure that you clean and oil your pruners after you use that sort of material. So we're going to show you a little bit about deadheading, and deadheading is simply removing the old spent flower heads. So what you do basically is just cut those old flower heads off down at the base with your sharp pruners, and then the plant will put out new growth next year. As I'm cutting this back, I'm finding out we have a little infestation of some bugs. So that's another reason why doing a good garden cleanup is helpful, because it's going to uncover some of these issues. So we're just going to go all the way down to the base. Now this kind of material, it's not so important where you cut the stem, but you want to get as close to the base as possible. So deadheading is also confined to, you're just cutting into last year's growth. So this is all flower heads that were produced last year, and so all this, what I'm cutting is nice and soft and easy to cut. So what you're left here with is the new growth that's going to support new flowers next year. So tip pruning is another technique that you can use almost year-round with deadheading. You're pinching or pruning back just the young, soft, flexible growth. You're not going into any of the older wood from the year, last year or the year before. So anything that's really soft like this is something that you can do tip pruning on. And it's also called pinching because it's so soft you can probably just pinch through it with your fingers. Every time you pinch down to what they call a node, which is right above where 2 branches form, what that does is it makes these branches grow more. And we do that usually in the spring. After the plant has flowered, you're going to be deadheading a bit, or in the fall if you want to kind of reduce some of the size of the plant. And I can see these old seed heads here are something that you can easily remove, and it'll make the plant look a little bit cleaner and neater. And when you prune, you don't want to cut kind of in the middle of this area because it's going to leave this dead stump, And that is an area where diseases can start. So you actually want to prune down closer to where these two branches come out. So I'm going to try to prune this plant back a little bit to give the other one next to it more room to grow. That's the other thing we do in the fall, it's corrective pruning. So I'm going to deadhead this plant also just by kind of pruning back the tips. And you can even break them with your fingers if they're nice and easy. Like on this is actually Lilac Verbena or Baja Verbena, and it blooms almost all year round. It's just taking a little bit of a break now. But the other thing about your cleanup time is that it also lets you get in here and see where all the weeds are. So we want to make sure to remove as much weed material in the fall as you can. Because you're going to be kind of messing with your plants and cleaning them up, and don't let them overwinter until the next summer. The bits that you are removing from your plants, as long as they're not diseased, if they're nice and clean, you can actually just kind of let those fall. That can be part of the mulch. However, weeds, especially weeds with either seed heads on them or things like this Bermuda grass, which can grow back from pieces, don't put this in your compost, and don't leave it on the ground because it's going to regrow. This stuff probably should be put in the trash.
For more information, visit sustainableventura.tv and search Less Toxic Gardening and Native Gardens. sustainableventura.tv for a better tomorrow.